Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the Ford Bronco Wildtrak, and I'm going to explain why you should get this instead of the Bronco Raptor. Before we get into this video though, I'm going to give you a huge shout out and thank you to the Large Miller Ford here in Provo for giving me some time with this Bronco. I'll include a link to their website in the description down below. If you have any questions, just ask for John Jenks, and then I'll also include a link to my car buying guide in the description down below as well. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a turbocharged 2.7 liter V6 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy 17 around town and then 17 on the highway, with power outputs being 330 horsepower and then 415 pound-feet of torque. Now, before I move forward with this review, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. You can see the cool decal there at the top, and then you got the mirrors attached to the body rather than the doors. And then look at the headlight design here, circular on a boxy vehicle. I feel like that's the coolest thing you can do in a car. And then you got the white Bronco logo, which matches the paint on this particular one. And then we've got this upgraded off-road bumper. I mean, this thing can definitely take an impact, but yeah, putting it all together, Wildtrak front end looks cool. Now around the side here, we've got 35s wrapped around 17-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear. You can see we've got the beadlock style wheels, pretty cool looking if you ask me. And these tires have been shown to be pretty solid so far, which is good. And then you guys can see the big fender flare there. We've got the Wildtrak logo. And then the next thing that's really important is going to be the shocks on the Wildtrak. This is the only Bronco outside of the Raptor that gets Fox shocks. You can kind of see them in there, so that's going to help out with damping off-road quite a bit. But anywho, here is your full side view with the Bronco. And then this leads us to the key fob. We've got our lock and unlock function, we got the remote start function, Bronco logo on the back, and yeah, that's all. And then popping into the rear, first off, got the multiple compression here on the tailgate itself. And then you got the window pop open as well. Quite a bit of storage space in the back of the Bronco. Again, this is a similar setup to what you have with a Wrangler, where you can see with the cage here painted to match and everything. But yeah, I mean, it's a practical vehicle. When you're all done, just do the window first, then the tailgate second. Plop. Pretty cool looking taillights there, and then you got a recovery point down below. Spare 35 on the back, and that's all. Now taking a look at the door panel, I like this material. I think it's pretty cool, and then the coloration is very interesting. I mean, look at these seats, for example. Very interesting with that coloration. Now getting in, you do have to step up a bit. I mean, it is an off-road SUV with 35-inch tall tires, but you can see legroom, not too shabby. Got a little storage pocket here. You can see with the window controls there in the center. And then headroom is good because of the boxy design, and then you got stadium seating so we can see out the front pretty well. And then you can see with the front door panel, you've got the same trim here. And then again, with the mirrors being attached to the body, it's so weird that we see the door going to the mirror. Anyways, here's the front seat. Pretty nice with the coloration and trim. All of your adjustments on the side. And then you guys can see with the parking brake down below, and then you got the light controls here as well, and then you have a little bit of blue. Here's a quick look at the steering wheel. You can see soft touch all around, and then we've got a bunch of practical controls here on the steering wheel, so like your voice command controls, controls for the center, adaptive cruise control, volume controls as well, and then just a singular turn signal windshield wiper stock. Now at the gauge clutch, you can see you've got the speedometer on the one side, and then you've got the screen here in the center to go through different bits of information on the Bronco. And then this is where the drive modes will also pop up. Now with this Wildtrak, you do get a Baja mode, which is pretty cool if you ask me. 360 camera system in reverse, really solid resolution. Trajectory lines turn with the steering wheel. And then as for the rest of the infotainment system, quick response time. With the screen, you got the auxiliary tab, just like the screen in, like a new F-150, for example. And then up top, we've got our front rear locking diff selection, trail turn assist, stability control as well. No stabilizer bar disconnect with the Wildtrak. And then we've got our analog controls for the radio, dual zone climate, heated seats, heated steering wheel as well. You can see with the little charging pad. shifter here for the 10-speed. And then we have our driveline select, so advanced 4-wheel drive system, 2-speed transfer case, all of that. Off-road cruise control as well. Window controls here with your mirror adjustment and the center console. Pretty cool. And then Bronco there. And then glove box, pretty spacious overall. And then we've got 6 auxiliary switches. You can add a bunch of items to this. And then nice top insulation with the hard top. So there's way too much glare to see, but 2024 Wildtrak, total MSRP $68,060, aka this is basically $30,000 less than a Bronco Raptor. Let's take it out and drive it and talk about it. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's visibility over the hood, both the mirrors, do a blind spot monitoring, and got the rest of the rear. So, Bronco Wildtrak. This is the Bronco that went from 0 to hero in my opinion, because when this first came out, it was basically just a Badlands without a stabilizer bar disconnect, right? And then they, you know, put the Fox shocks in, but then at the same time, they released the Bronco Raptor. And so it was like, oh, cool, the Wildtrak's finally unique. But now there's a cooler Bronco with Fox shocks, right? But now that the Bronco Raptor's been out for a while, I think that this has gone back, or finally reached hero level. And the reason being is because of the price of the Bronco Raptor. When the Bronco Raptor first came out and it was, you know, starting in the 70s, that made this look like nonsense. But now that the Bronco Raptor is $100,000, this looks a lot more appealing, dare I say. So first off, power's great. Really good torque. And this 2.7's been in the F-150s for quite some time. It's a proven engine. It's been proven to be reliable. It's a solid setup. And this drives well. Now, it's not quite as cushy as the Bronco Raptor. It doesn't sit quite as high because it didn't have 37s, but it still drives really well overall. And quick, it's fun. The Bronco Raptor, frankly, doesn't really feel any quicker because it's so much heavier and has bigger tires. This, you know, Bronco on 35s feels pretty much just as quick as the Raptor on 37s and all that. But yeah, it drives well. And let me go over some bumps so I can show you guys the damping. And the Bronco Raptor damping is going to be a little bit better, but these Wildtraks are pretty dang solid, if you ask me. Not the best test. Obviously, the best test would be in the desert. But these shocks do a good job. They're better than the Bilsteins. The Bilsteins are a little bit busier over bumps. These are quite a bit less busy. So putting it all together, the Bronco Wildtrak, sub $70,000. $30,000 less than a Bronco Raptor. I think this is a really cool rig. I think it's kind of underrated now. So let me know what you guys think about the Wildtrak here, but I think that this is a vehicle that went from 0 to hero.